People often say that we should never meet our heroes because we might find that our hero is a lowlife. Greetings, family. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to discuss some comments that were made by Phil Jackson regarding basketball and his decision to stop watching basketball altogether. Okay, now I used to think that Phil Jackson was the greatest coach in the history of basketball simply because he coached Michael Jordan, simply because he coached Kobe Bryant. He coached two of the greatest players that ever played the game. He won numerous championships. And so I always looked at Phil Jackson as being in the top tier of basketball coaches. Okay, but Phil Jackson has made some statements revealing that, in his opinion, basketball has become politicized due to the inclusion of Black Lives Matter in NBA broadcasts. Alright, Phil Jackson believes that the inclusion of Black Lives Matter is so egregious that it turned him away from the sport that he has loved for most of his life. Okay, Phil Jackson has been a coach for decades in the NBA, and he's coached predominantly black players. And so many persons are wondering, how can a person who has basically built his legacy with the effort and the athleticism of black players actually have a problem with a social justice movement or civil rights campaign? Okay, the Black Lives Matter movement was sensitizing the public to the killing of black people by law enforcement. And so Phil Jackson is of the view that this was so unacceptable that he had to actually stop watching basketball. Okay, now, in my opinion, I want to make some brief reflections on this because I believe his statements have implications for the black community. Okay, because only a person who is harboring a racist ideology would have an issue with Black Lives Matter to the extent that they can't even watch basketball. Especially a person who has been coaching basketball for a number of years. The fact that you stop watching it simply because of Black Lives Matter, in my opinion, indicates that you have a resentment towards black people, and you don't even consider the claims made by black people to be valid because you don't even want to entertain the Black Lives Matter campaign. You don't even want to hear what the argument is, or maybe you already formed an opinion about the argument and you don't want to entertain it in general. But this seems to me to be some hidden racism on the part of Phil Jackson, and I think this significantly damages his reputation and his legacy. Many people will continue to remember these sentiments, and I think it's going to affect how the public views him. But ultimately, I don't believe there's any room for bigotry in the world, and so I believe Phil Jackson should retract these statements and give some understanding as to what was so offensive about Black Lives Matter. Okay, but family, let me know your thoughts in the comments below about all these dynamics. One love.